Addressable TV in the UK is in a really interesting, quite dynamic place at the moment. Having been established, and I really have to compliment them, even though they're a client, of course, and that's not why I'm complimenting, but Sky TV, in terms of the introduction of AdSmart a number of years ago now, was really an interesting and highly innovative place. What it allowed the market to do, I think, was experiment for the first time addressable advertising in linear. And we're talking about linear here. We're not talking about the streaming BVOD area of inventory, but purely linear, AdSmart, into geographic or mosaic areas within the UK, allowing advertisers who are more local actually to get onto television for the first time with some quite significant results. And Sky have given a lot of case studies over the years. But since those initial starts, it's now expanded with Channel 4 and with ITV, with Planet V, which is a slightly different approach to it. And of course, we're getting increasing opportunities for addressable advertising within the streaming marketplace, the OTT and the CTV, the connected TV marketplace. So it's still nascent. It is growing. I think one of the interesting things about it is that it has introduced many new advertisers to the marketplace. But I think what's also happened is during the COVID pandemic and that lockdown, I think it really brought the market to a very shuddering stop, and particularly in the addressable marketplace. But we're beginning to see green shoots, and we're beginning to see things start picking up again. And I'm very positive in terms of how both the addressable market itself, going out into many other areas of inventory, but primarily within that linear and BVOD area, and indeed being taken advantage and an opportunity to use that inventory through our own subsidiary Finecast.
What do you see as the main barriers holding back investment in addressable TV at the moment? You mentioned the market is nascent. Why? What needs to happen to accelerate its growth?
Any growth is going to come from approving, firstly, of the technology. And I know from talking to colleagues from Sky itself, a number of them over many years, but also people like Rhys McLachlan at ITV, and Jeff Eales at Sky. It's technically an incredibly complicated area. One of the reasons for that being it's not a digital delivery. Where addressable is delivered in a digital world, that's slightly different. But where we are talking about real proper broadcast TV, whether that be in the linear stream or within BVOD, and whether that addressable is overlaid, it's overdubbed on the advertisement that might have gone out on a recording, or is it within a catalogue or a catch-up, and the variances within that. Making sure, and remember in the UK, we're talking about a highly regulated market through Ofcom, making sure that Sky, as a broadcaster, so they're restricted by the Ofcom regulations, fulfill all of their obligations in terms of both the content and the advertising that they broadcast. So I see that has been the biggest barrier. And also in terms of just at a time, I think addressable has come around where we've seen also a growth in programmatic. We've seen a growth through the so-called streaming wars with the introduction of Netflix and then Amazon Prime and more latterly Disney Plus, all very successfully, and indeed additional streaming services coming into the UK and particularly in the AVOD marketplace. So I think it's been a very, very crowded marketplace. However, paradoxically, I think one of the issues we faced is actually a dearth of premium inventory in that marketplace. So quite frankly, it's been difficult sometimes to get the campaigns away.
Speaking to that point, do we have the right measurement solutions in place to support the growth of addressable? I know it's one of your favorite topics. Where are we with measurement and addressable at the moment?
The measurement of addressable is incredibly complicated because what we're talking about is we could be talking about a spot in the linear stream or in the BVOD stream being transmitted, broadcast out as maybe 2 separate creatives in 2 halves of the country, or it could be maybe 20 different creatives going out to different postcodes or sub-regions in the country, and beyond that, they might not be from the same advertiser. So actually managing that particular opportunity of taking what would have been a nationally or even a regionally broadcast spot and subdividing it down to an addressable ad doesn't just create problems for actually making that ad available, but it is actually difficult to measure, because we're talking about exponential amounts of data and measurement having to take place. And Barb and Sky and ITV and Channel 4 have done a really good job in trying to move towards that measurement, but it's not there yet. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot of addressable advertising has been of a performance nature rather than pure brand building. But we're getting there. And I think as part of the much wider advances we've seen recently in Barb with parts of Dovetail and the Dovetail Fusion for the player, for the BVOD measurement, with the development of C-Flight, which will have actual ad serving on it, being fused from the ITV, Channel 4 and Sky onto the Barb broadcast data, and further developments in CTV and OTT measurement, hopefully some of it standardizing over time, we will see a coming together of the measurement. But unfortunately, like all of the total video market, it is still as yet not a unified measurement system. One that I've been calling out for, along with colleagues, along with our clients for many years. And just to say that, GroupM and indeed our competitive agency networks together, we've all been working closely with ISBA to try and the major vendors in the marketplace from the digital side, and talking to the TV broadcasters about Project Origin, which will bring us a fusion between a digital and the more panel currency-based measurement of TV and VOD, which would include a total video measurement and would help us develop more accurate, addressable measurement techniques.
And a final brief question. Does the industry need to do more to standardize across the different pools of addressable inventory? You mentioned linear, you've spoken about BVOD. There are obviously non-BVOD streamers out there on CTVs and other platforms. Is it too hard to transact at scale across these platforms? Do we need more standardization? It's
probably the biggest challenge we have, in that whatever we might want to do theoretically from a standardized measurement point of view, and I've been working in this area for over 30 years, and this is nothing new. What drives it ultimately is the commercial output, and it's the monetization of the inventory by the broadcaster or the streamer, and indeed the ROI that the advertiser returns back, with us as the agency in the middle, putting together the schedule, the plan, and identifying the optimized solutions to make that happen. So unfortunately, we've got three different things all pulling in different directions. Yes, of course, something like a Barb for addressable would be fantastic, but it needs time to play through. I think there are some priorities in the marketplace that are important. The other point being is also, given that a lot of addressable can be performance-based, then it's much easier for us to measure the outcomes from that exposure within an addressable environment, whether that be in a linear or a BVOD feed, and linking that schedule through, for example, like Finecast total video tool, to enable us then to interpret what's happening in the digital channels, to bring in from companies like Audience Report a set of campaign logs to bring together both the TV exposures and the digital exposures in one place. So their TV being both linear and catch up, and the digital exposures into one place, and then integrating that into an outcomes data set, which could be sales, which could be requests for test drive of cars, it could be booking of holiday, or it could just be any form of website landing. But increasingly, obviously, last click attribution is not what we're looking for. We're looking for a comprehensive analysis of what the exposure has done in terms of generating a consumer reaction.